Hi, I'm Briony Kennedy, the founder of Adorn Cosmetics, and whilst this is not so much a visual tutorial, I would like to just give you some of my tips around makeup application and skin preparation and some of the products that I think are essential to have in your skincare and your makeup kit. So to start with, skin preparation. I think finding a moisturizer that suits your skin type is really, really important, and having the rose water there as well to help prepare the skin. Having a really good moisturizer and having the rose water will help to hydrate the skin without loading the skin up too thickly. One of the mistakes that people make is trying to put too many products on their skin, and what that will do is just load the skin up with so many things that the makeup has no chance of staying on. So it's all about making sure that you have effective skincare, but nothing more than what you need, because it will affect how long your makeup lasts. So that's my first tip. My second tip is to make sure that you have at least 2 foundations. Okay, if you can't, make sure the one that you have is the correct color for you. But I don't know too many people that are the same color all year round, and I don't know too many skin types that are the same all year round. We always go through fluctuations of maybe hormonal and being a little bit oilier, or maybe we're a bit more dehydrated other times. So my other tip for that is to have 2 foundation colors, and if you can, 2 different foundation types. My recommendation is working out what one suits your skin type, whether you're dry, dehydrated, or oily, getting a product that's specific to that, and then always having a loose mineral powder as well. Okay, so for me, the loose mineral powder is a must-have because it's got a chemical-free or synthetic chemical-free sun protection of 20 plus, so it helps to protect the skin against any sun damage on the face, neck, and décolletage, which is super important. And a lot of the thicker chemical sunscreens bulk up the skin and make it really impossible for the makeup to stay on. Okay, they tend to have thickening agents and silicons and all sorts of nasties, and they are not particularly good for around the eyes. So having a good mineral powder like the Adorn Anti-Aging 20 Plus Sun Protection is a must-have in your makeup kit, and then an additional liquid or a cream foundation. So that's my next tip. 2 foundation types and 2 colors that you can work with. So when you're a little bit lighter, you have one, you're a little bit darker, you can use your other color, and if you're somewhere in between, you can mix the 2 together. So you could use your liquid, and then you could put the loose over the top to tone the darkness of the liquid down, and vice versa. So that's my second tip. My next tip is when you are looking to conceal the eyes or conceal any blemishes, make sure you stick with flesh tone concealers, nothing that's too white. As you age, white things will draw attention to the areas you don't want to, whether it's fine lines, large pores, or maybe you've got a bit of milia under your eyes, or you've got puffiness. So anything that's too white is going to draw attention to those unwanted areas. So flesh tone concealers, nothing too thick. Okay, so the concealers in the Adorn range are perfect for under the eye and on the face. Now, my tip here is to have 2 concealer colors, one for under the eyes, and if you find that the peachy sleep is suitable, that is perfect for under the eyes, and then a flesh tone concealer for the skin. You can use a concealer under the eyes up to 2 shades lighter than your foundation color, still not being white. But what that will do is it will create brightness, and it will help with the discoloration, but also open the eyes so they look fresh and bright. On the skin, however, you need to use a concealer that's the exact shade of your foundation. If you use a lighter concealer on your foundation and you're putting it on a raised concern, a pimple, for example, lighter things look bigger. So putting a light concealer on top of a blemish is going to make that look bigger. So 2 concealer colors is my next tip. If you are struggling with eye makeup staying put, then you need to avoid eye creams or any face oils or anything that's too thick around the eye area, okay? Keep the eye area clean, and if need be, don't put any moisturizer around that area if you're wearing eye makeup that day. Keep your moisturization for maybe the evening, okay? If you do have a dry eye area, then the Adorn Primer is fine to put a light amount, and I do recommend that you let the moisturizer soak into the skin for up to a couple of minutes. So maybe fresh out of the shower, put it on, go off, do something else, and then put your makeup on. If you can't wait, it's okay. It's just that the benefits are going to be a lot better if you allow your day primer moisturizer to soak in for a couple of minutes before your makeup application. My other tip for around the eyes, if you're struggling with eye makeup staying put, is to avoid putting foundation around your eyes, okay? It's about keeping that area as minimal and less bulky as possible. So the less products you put there, the longer your eye makeup is going to last. So I recommend putting your foundation on first, avoid this eye area, and all you would be putting on the eye area is a concealer underneath. And definitely my next tip is concealing your eyelid. Eyelids are very transparent, especially as we age, and they show a lot of blue and red veins, and it's quite aging. So if you don't do any eye makeup, put a flesh tone concealer on the top. It looks like a beautiful nude eyeshadow, and I promise you it makes your eyes look fresh, open, and more alive. Okay, so my next tip is brows, okay? As we age, we lose our eyebrows, unless you've had them tattooed like I have, but I still enhance my brows with a brow dust, okay? And we can lose pigment in our brows. So having a brow dust that's water resistant and it's not going to move on the face, brow dusts are softer, they're not as harsh as a pencil. I would suggest choosing a color that's as close to your hair color as possible, okay, and not as dark as your hair color, definitely not darker than your hair color. So usually if you've got dark hair, it's good to go maybe a shade lighter, and if you've got light hair, you can go up to a shade darker, just so it's not looking so stark. Okay, my emphasis on brows is always the arch. It's the most toxin-free, natural-looking Botox you'll ever get by putting a little bit of brow dust on the arch of your eye, focusing more here. It's going to give a nice lift and open up the eye. So if there's anywhere that you focus your brows, it's right here. So for more tips on that, you can head to my tutorials on how to do that. Okay, my next tip for having really flawless looking skin and flawless looking makeup is to have a neutral or mid-tone eyeliner and neutral colors, mid-tone eyeshadows, okay? Yes, once you get a little bit more adventurous, you can definitely venture into the darker and the more brighter colors, especially if you're a little bit younger and you don't have too much of the saggy sort of crepey eyes or wrinkly eyes. If you're more mature, I suggest moving away from darker colors because they're quite aging and they can make your eyes look smaller. So it's all about using mid-tones. Now, mid-tones are taupes, light browns, grays, those more forgiving colors. They're not only easier to work with, but they're much more forgiving around the eye. So I would suggest, again, having, say, a brown eyeliner and, say, a brown like our topaz, maybe our obsidian or jasper, and also, say, the allure, which is a really nice gray-blue color. You may also like to try the chubby pencils, as they are really forgiving, very natural, and easy to blend as well. Okay, with your eyelashes, okay, one of my best tips is to invest in lash curlers. As you age, your eyelashes get shorter and more sparse, okay? So unless you want to use lash extensions, the best way to get your eyelashes looking longer and fuller is to use lash curlers, okay? So you curl them every day. It's a step I never ever miss in my makeup. It curls them up, makes it easier to put mascara on, and it gives extra length like you wouldn't believe. So they are the number one thing that you must have for your eye makeup. Now, I do use a lash primer. If you struggle with length and thickness, the lash primer gives that extra length and thickness before using a mascara. My tip with eyelashes is that if you are a lighter hair, maybe you've got less eyelashes, maybe they're really fine, then I would stick to brown mascara. It's much more forgiving. It still gives length and thickness, but it's not going to draw attention to the fact that you don't have a lot of eyelashes. Black will do that. So my other tip is to make sure that you don't put too much, if any, mascara at the bottom if you don't have any lashes on the bottom. Okay, my next tip is for lips. Okay, if you've got smaller lips as you're getting older, then you could put a little bit of a luminizer on top of the Cupid's bow and underneath like I have. That'll give the illusion of a little bit of a curl. You could put a bit of a luminizer in the middle of your lips and then put your lip gloss or your lipstick over the top. So there's a little natural tip on enhancing your lips. I do recommend having a lip balm and always putting that on morning and night, because there's nothing more aging and I suppose more drying than having cracked looking lips. No lipstick or gloss is going to look great if your lips are really dry and dehydrated, and only one day of not drinking water can give you dry, dehydrated looking lips. Okay, so that's my tip with the lips, is definitely have a lip balm handy and a little bit of a luminizer on the top here, which will give that really nice lift to the lips. So hopefully my tips have helped you pick up a few things that maybe you could be doing, some colors that you could be having. One of my other tips would be that, you know, using a magnifying mirror, they're excellent for plucking hairs. They're also great if you need glasses and you just can't get your eye makeup on, but they are not great for nitpicking and trying for perfection. Now, when you're looking in a mag mirror, it's going to show even my makeup right now. If I was to look in a mag mirror, I would look frightening. Okay, so the best idea of how your makeup looks is to look at yourself at arm's length from the mirror, and that's how everybody's going to see you. No one is this close to you. Okay, so look at yourself get your makeup on with a mag mirror if you need to, but look at yourself at arm's length, because that is how everybody's going to see you. Okay, you don't need to get things mag mirror perfect. Okay, so that's my next step. Do not overlook in those mirrors because they are a bit depressing. Okay, so just checking. I want to make sure while I'm chatting I haven't missed any of the notes that I've got here, but I think I'm done with all my main tips. So hopefully you've been able to pick something out of this Briony's top tips.